Good afternoon and welcome to the Columbus Metropolitan Club. My name is LaCory Meadows and I'm a member of CMC's Board of Trustees as well as the Director of OSU Extension here in Franklin County. It is so wonderful to see everyone today. Over the past several weeks, racism and systemic bias is being acknowledged as never before. In our long-standing tradition, CMC is developing forums that provide community space to explore these issues in our continuing series, Racism, Where Do We Go From Here? We have live streamed, thanks to our live stream partners, WOSU Public Media, the Columbus Dispatch, WBNS 10 TV, as well as PNC. We'd also like to thank those who have purchased virtual seats for today's forum. We are very grateful for the support and are able to continue live streaming services in large part because of you. So again, thank you so much for that. Welcome to today's forum entitled Young Black Women Speak. Complicated and complex, understanding and resolving the many facets of racism is an urgent task. People of all colors and backgrounds are engaged in demands for greater equity as well as greater justice. To begin understanding the challenges, listening to those whose daily lives are shadowed by racism is a reasonable place to start, and that's where we will begin today. What does life look like day to day for young African American women? We are pleased to welcome 3 exemplary young leaders for a glimpse. So please join me in welcoming student at the Columbus Academy, Olivia Pierre-Louise. Also, a student at the Tennessee State University, which is my alma mater, so we're sharing our blue colors here. Janae Tallison. And our host, an America Vista and Public Information Officer for the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods and My Brother's Keeper Village Program, Brooke Rayford. Brooke, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here, and I hope you all are comfortable and excited about the conversation. I'm fairly new to Columbus, so it's an honor to be here and welcomed by the community and sitting here next to these lovely ladies. But we're going to get right into the conversation and get started. So, ladies, we're in the midst of a pandemic. School has come to an end, and we're hit with yet another occurrence of police brutality. Just tell me, what's your temperature? How are you feeling right now?
First thing, I'm feeling a little tired. It's a lot to deal with being concerned about getting sick as well as getting through school, and then the added weight of just knowing racism is alive and well. So tired is the first thing I'd feel, but also a little hopeful. Not a little, pretty hopeful, because I'm seeing a lot more progress being made. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. First, thank you to the Columbus Metropolitan Club for having me speak today. Give honor to God, my family, and my peers. Thank you just so much for allowing me to speak today. The temperature is high right now. The temperature is high right now. We are in the midst of a pandemic. We're trying to be healthy. We're trying not to catch COVID-19. We're trying to raise some awareness and get some answers figured out with that first. And then on top of that, we have to worry about our skin color and the problems that sometimes can come with that. Black people are angry. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We want more, and we deserve more, and we need more. So the temperature is high, and we are asking for justice, and we want justice, and we demand it.
Awesome. Well, to go along with the world crisis that we're going through right now, crime is on the rise in the city. I mean, it is a trend to see crime or violent crimes increase in the community. I mean, school's out, more social gatherings are happening, but this summer, we all know, we've never seen anything like this before, at least in my generation and yours. So another hot topic that's been discussed is defunding police. So I have to ask you, with recent crimes increasing with definitely young adults and youth, do you think that defunding police is a good idea?
I wouldn't say we need to so much defund the police, but I think we need to hold the police more accountable for their actions. I believe that they shouldn't get as much funding as, so much as the armed forces, or we could put our money into better places like education. There's no reason why the education budget gets cut every single year, teachers' paychecks get cut every single year, yet an officer or a system that has not serviced the community is supposed to protect and serve is getting thousands and thousands of types of dollars. That's just ridiculous to me. And then I know you guys have probably seen the commercials where it's saying, if you have a robbery or if there's a rape, please leave a message and we will get back to you in 5 days. Like, we're not saying defund the police so much to not protect us, because we do need protection when there are crimes in our neighborhoods. We need that protection, but we need to allocate money towards stuff that's going to enhance the community, and that could also hopefully lower the crime rate in that as well. If we put more funding into education, we have more after-school programs. We can have more teachers being there for latchkey. There are just so many other ways that we can use the money, and we're not trying to say defund the police in the way of get rid of them because they're all bad, but we need to allocate money properly, and we also need to realize that if the money gets taken away from their budget, they probably will learn how to act right. Because if you take somebody's money from them, they'll probably say, oh, I don't want my paycheck getting cut. Maybe I won't kill as many kids today. Just a thought.
I agree. I think there should be more money and more public services, but I also think that we don't have to defund the police. We should reimagine what they're doing in the first place. In all of this happening, I recently learned that the police are not obligated to protect you. You can call them and they can choose not to show up. They can show up and they can choose not to help, which defeats the purpose of policing in general. I think the police should be reimagined to have separate jobs, because you call the police for a myriad of reasons. Right. There's so many things that they have to do. So I think that their job should be split up within the police force, and it could be an umbrella term for all these public servants that can handle situations as they come along. You call the police for a bank robbery and you call them for a noise complaint. Have somebody who can de-escalate the situation, and that person's not the same person who's handling a hostile situation. So I don't think we need to defund the police. Well, kind of. But I think it's more important to reimagine and rebuild the police.
Absolutely. Great points, ladies. Well, all Black lives matter. All lives lost to police brutality, Black man, Black woman. But I want to speak specifically today to Breonna Taylor, because we do have young ladies up here today. It almost felt as if her event wasn't highlighted heavy until the death of George Floyd. That's how I feel personally. I don't know how you all feel, but do you believe that minority female victims of police brutality are overshadowed?
Yes.
You go first.
I do, absolutely. I think we focus a lot on the issue that Black men are in danger, which they absolutely are. But I think that overshadows the fact that Black women are also in danger. We have to try twice as hard to get our names shouted. During the protests, I went to a couple of the first ones, and it was all George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, but it wasn't until maybe 2 weeks later that they started shouting Breonna Taylor's name. Mm-hmm. So we get lost in the yelling a lot.
Absolutely, and I think even just historically, women have not been heard. Even in the civil rights movement, we sat back and we let the men mainly fight, and we let them have their rights heard first and let their rights come first before our own. So historically, Black women have always put themselves last because we've always put the Black man first. And while, of course, the Black man has faced a lot, I think Black women also need to have a voice as well. I didn't even hear about the Breonna Taylor situation, like Olivia said, until 2 weeks after George Floyd. And I also do believe that there was more done for George Floyd and not as much for Breonna Taylor, and we need justice for her. And it just kind of shows, it's kind of like a slap in the face, because we go so hard for our Black men, but sometimes I feel like they don't go as hard for us. And as a whole, the media doesn't go as hard for Black women like they should. So I definitely believe it's a problem that needs to be addressed, needs to be resolved. And as women, we need to also stick together and scream for our voices to be heard as well, because there are even some women that are screaming for George Floyd and not as much for Breonna Taylor. And they didn't do the same thing for Sandra Bland as well. male. So historically, it's been a problem that even we as women will support men instead of us. So I think we just need to handle that first and then just keep supporting each other and let our voices be heard when it comes to this.
I agree. I did my research, and I'm not sure if you all have heard of the hashtag Say Her Name movement, but I actually looked into that a couple of days ago, and there was a list of women that have suffered or lost their lives due to police brutality, and I had never heard their names.
Yes.
So again, this is a part of us educating ourselves and, of course, educating our peers. But looking at Breonna Taylor's incident, we saw that Louisville has banned no-knock warrants through that event. So we see the steps that they're taking to move forward, in which obviously so many communities need to continue to move steps, and it's a national issue that we're facing right now. But what do you all believe that needs to happen in the Columbus community? Are there any specific policies or reforms that need to happen right here in Columbus?
Okay. Well, I definitely believe education is power. I definitely believe we educate ourselves on what's going on, then that can enhance how we feel about things, how we can move about certain things. Also, I believe that there needs to be policy in place to help limit the issues that happen with racism as a whole. I think last week, when I think his name was Andrew, he spoke here as well. He mentioned He mentioned having whenever we have investigations, have a third party come in and do the investigation instead of the police, because we have the police investigating the police. If my brother kills a person, I'm the lead detective on the case. What you think I'm going to do? I'm going to fight for my brother that I get arrested. So we need to have a third party to come in to investigate these crimes. And also, we should probably get to know more of our politicians and know more of our state officials and know where they stand on certain agendas. Where do you stand on the Black Lives Matter movement? Where do you stand on the police? Where do you stand on minority education? Like, where do you stand on these things? And then if we have these candid conversations, we can then put some type of form and some type of policy in place. And then also, once we hear about a vote or what's the thing called? Like a law, for lack of a better word, being put out there, we need to educate ourselves on what does that mean for everybody. We need to educate ourselves on like how this law can affect us, good and bad. So definitely education, and then getting to know some of your state officials to know what policies they believed in, and being an active part in getting good policy that can affect your neighborhood.
I agree. I want to see more transparency with politicians, with our local law enforcement. I want to be able to see a police officer and not think, okay, here comes an oppressive force. Here's somebody in my community who's here to help. So some sort of, I don't know, a connection between the community and those in power. And it's like specifically with the police force, I would like to see nonviolent de-escalation. As I said, I went to some of the first protests, and the first one I went to, my sister and I got tear gassed, and it wasn't violent at all at that point. But that was kind of the first resort. We were kind of wrangled into in a place, and they threw it, and that did not help the situation. So I want to see de-escalation that doesn't make the people angrier. Mm-hmm.
Especially in like low-income neighborhoods. Like I stay in Linden, so I don't know any police officer that stays in my neighborhood, and yet they're coming down up and down the street every single day. And then they come with so much aggression, so much force, and like they already have a weird image in their mind of who I am already because of where I live. So we need more police officers that live in these communities, so that way if I see a police officer coming down my street, I'm not gonna think they're gonna attack me. I'm not gonna think that they think I'm some random statistic. They probably know me personally. I've seen them walk to the store. I've seen them around the neighborhood, so I know they're not a threat to me. But if it's some random guy that's coming down Hudson in a badge, I'm already on guard. Now I'm already thinking, oh, something happened. Let me hurry up and get home. Let me not have a hoodie on. Let me smile so that way I don't look mean or aggressive. So definitely having more police officers live in the areas that they are patrolling, so that way there can be some transparency and there can be some form of relationship and some form of trust with the people that they are policing or trying to protect.
Good points, good points. Olivia, to go back to protesting, I know I've been following a lot of people on social media, and some don't feel comfortable going out in the streets, of course, because we're dealing with COVID right now, but then others are taking the risk because, again, this is a bigger fight right now. But what are other ways to participate and to give back? What are other ways to be an ally towards equality?
So I don't know about you guys, but my mother doesn't play that, so I couldn't go protest where there's a pandemic. I live with an older person, so I wasn't really allowed to go out there and protest. So I signed petitions, I donated money, I supported companies and businesses that were supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, and companies that did not, I removed myself and I won't give my dollar to that corporation. I definitely believe that there are other ways to fight systematic racism and systematic oppression. Don't support companies that don't have the same values as you. Don't work for a company that that's values doesn't align with your own. And me, I personally support Black businesses always. I shop Black, I eat Black, all those type of things. And you can honestly, educating yourself will probably be the best thing for you to do if you can't go out there and fight, because I understand maybe you're scared, maybe there's just other factors to why you can't do that, but you can always still be an ally, you can always still support, and you don't have to go out there and fight. There's many ways to do it.
Yeah. Shout out to my parents for letting me go. They know that once I'm upset and have my mind to something, I will not give up till I can physically do something. And I'm 17, can't really vote. So I do what I can. I sign petitions. Also didn't have a credit card for a hot minute, so I couldn't put money online. But there are even live streams you can go on YouTube and just play them, and the ad revenue goes to Black Lives Matter research, Black Lives Matter, and all the funding getting protesters bailed out of jail, stuff like that. I make sure that there are learning resources available on my social media, and I let people know that if you click this link in my bio, you'll be connected to something else that can help. So just like Janae said, educating people, making sure it's available, and signing things.
Okay, so Janae, I know you went to an HBCU. I'm also an HBCU grad and HBCU advocate.
Yes, shout out to us.
But I know your experiences right now are different, I feel like, to Olivia's, especially, leaving school, coming back here and being hit with all the climate that's happening right now. I feel that, when we go to HBCUs, we're pro-Black everything.
Right.
We come back, it's like, woo, woo,
right.
power to the people, right. And I know, Olivia, you go to a majority white high school. So I guess my question is, has your environment or experiences affected your response to what's happening? I know, Olivia, you may have Caucasian friends. And so has that maybe pushed you to do more to make sure that they see what you're doing? Or is it just, I'm Black, so that's what I'm gonna do? And same question for you. Of course, your community right now back at school is slightly different than Olivia's.
So I don't think it's my Caucasian classmates that push me to go forward. I go to a K through 12 school. It's Columbus Academy. It's not my thing. But it's more seeing the younger kids that are also Black at the school, because I've gone there essentially my whole life, and I know what I would like to see changed. And once I said what I wanted to see change, the school 100% was like, yeah, we're behind you now. We see the social climate. We recognize where we need to get better. So tell us what we need to do to get better. And I've been doing a lot of work with our ethics class, our history department, and wherever else. I honestly ask where we need improvement. It's been different in the sense that more classmates are being vocal about their opinions, whether or not I agree with them, but I don't think they really affect me all that much anymore. I don't have time to focus on that.
So personally, for me, I would say I definitely feel supported by my classmates and my university. Shout out to Tennessee State University, the illustrious. I definitely feel supported because I think we all have an understanding that we are under attack. And it kind of strengthened the reason why I chose to go to a historical Black college and university, to be supported by people that look like me, to be an environment that knows that once I go out into this world, that I won't get that same love and support. So that I'm just very grateful for that. And students at my college, we're very angry. A lot of students at my college, we have been out there protesting, signing petitions, having live streams, webinars. I know Zoom has had Tennessee State written all over it because we didn't have so many Zoom meetings about the situation. My organization, the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs Incorporated, definitely has been on the forefront of making sure that we are heard and that this this needs to be resolved. So I definitely feel supported. I definitely feel like we are all in the understanding that we are under attack and that we need to fight this injustice. And I definitely think that when we go back to school, we'll probably have a protest, because that's what Tennessee State University is good for, a protest. And then back in the day, we also participated in sit-ins. Fisk did, but the Nashville community participated in that as a whole. And I definitely feel like Nashville as a whole is definitely understanding what's going on, and they're supporting the university as well. So my experience is different simply because we all agree on this, but I think we all know that a change needs to happen, and that something's going to happen one way or another.
Okay. So in order for our nation to be progressive, we have to educate not only ourselves, but those that may be blind to systemic racism. In some ways, through our own experiences. And again, you all have different experiences. So share some of those personal situations where you may have dealt with discrimination, racial discrimination.
Okay, so I remember one day, me and my brother, we were out doing something. We were out doing something, and we went into a store that had washing machines, dryers, microwaves, like an appliance store pretty much. We were trying to kill time before we had an appointment. So we went in there, we were just walking around, and of course they asked us, oh, hey, do you guys need anything? Some of you looking for? We're like, no, we're just kind of looking around, but if we need anything, we'll let you know. So they're like, okay, fine. So they sit in their corner over there in the corner doing whatever, and we're just looking around at the washing machines, dryers, and refrigerators. And then came up to us again, probably like 5 minutes later. Hey, so do you need anything? Do you need any help? No, sir, I'm good. Thank you so much for asking me. I'm fine, thank you. Another like 5-7 minutes later, they came up again. You fine? Do you need anything? I'm great, sir. Thank you. I'm fine. 5 minutes later, they came again asking, are you good? Do you need anything? Is there anything I can help you look for? Sir, no, I don't need anything. I'm fine. If I need anything, I will let you know. Then they left me alone. I'm like, it's me and my brother. I'm 20, he's 19. We ain't doing nothing, but we are waiting for our appointment to start, so we're here trying to kill time. Why are you coming to me asking me, do I need help? I told you, well, no the first time, no the second time, no the third time. Now I have to get aggressive with you for you to understand that I don't need your help. So that happened like a month ago. I didn't even tell my mom about it because I didn't care that much, and I refused to let that ruin my day, because I refused. I wouldn't let that happen. So that experience made me very angry, because it's 2 people in the store, it's 4 of y'all, so you can see what we're doing. What do you think we're doing? I'm gonna carry a big refrigerator out the store, take it in my car, and drive off. You think that's what I'm gonna do? So that was very irritating as a whole. I didn't like that at all. I chose not to speak on it, and I didn't say anything because I guess you don't realize that. I didn't really realize I never had any racial issues with anybody until that day, and I was like, wow, I'm really black, I'm really a woman, and you really thought I was gonna take a whole refrigerator out your store for what? What was the purpose of that?
That sounds frustrating.
It was. Now I'm not going there no more. If I need a refrigerator, I ain't going there. I'm going to Target.
Fair point. Mine's weird, but I'm sure it's an experience that a lot of girls go through. I go to predominantly white school, and my freshman year, I was getting close with a white classmate, and a lot of people would start coming up to me and saying, you guys would have the cutest mixed babies, which is a weird thing to say to a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it at first. It's like, why is that even on the forefront of your mind? And then I would look through my Instagram and see oh, this is just a thing people say, especially to young black girls. Oh, you got the cutest mixed babies, the cutest thing. And that's something that makes me uncomfortable, and that happened too much.
So you all have never addressed any of these issues that have happened directly, or you've just kind of, like you said, you just let it go, you just brushed it off?
I brushed it off because I don't even know why I brushed it off. I feel like a piece of me really would have wished I let them have it, but at the same time, it's like, what would I have done? I would have perpetuated the stereotype that I'm an angry black woman, that I probably am a threat, that I don't know. Sometimes it's easier just to let it go, but I feel like now that where I am right now, you wouldn't have done that to me if I was a white woman or a white man. You just wouldn't have said that to me. If I was out somewhere, you wouldn't have addressed me. You wouldn't have came up to me. So a piece of me wish I would have stood up for myself, but I chose not to do it because I have my brother with me, and we both can't be upset. We both can't be up here. Somebody kind of has to be the mediator. So I just chose to be the older sister and be the bigger person, just let it go. But a piece of me wish that I would have said something. And I think that happens to a lot of people. a lot of African Americans, sometimes we have jobs and we are the only black person, we're the only black person that's the director of something, and we don't want to ruin that. So we're just going to play it cool, we're going to keep it quiet because we trying to play the game. We just trying to do what we got to do until we get to where we need to go. But at some point in time, enough has to be enough. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and your people no matter what's going to happen. You got to stand up for yourself because nobody else will. Who gonna fight for us? Who gonna fight for you but you? So now I wish I would have stood up, and now I will never let another injustice issue happen in my face again. If I see something, I'm gonna say something regardless, no matter how unpopular it is, because that's not right. And if everybody else would have just stayed silent with their opinions, I wouldn't even be sitting here right now.
So speaking on stereotypes, that was actually my next question. I know last month when we spoke with the young men, or when the young men were up here, a lot of the questions surrounded around how black men were depicted in the media and in the community and by individuals. But there are stereotypes for black women, like the angry black woman. What are some other stereotypes that black women may have to deal with, and how can we address them to eliminate them?
How much time you have?
A lot of time, go ahead.
So, stereotypes, oof. My least favorite stereotype, not least favorite, but the one that irks me to a high power is the belief that black women are these like strong, silent, emotionless pillars in their community who can take beating after beating and then stand behind the same thing over and over again because that's just what they do. That is such a damaging narrative because that depicts black women as people who don't have emotions, who can take anything you throw at them. And don't get me wrong, we are resilient, we are strong. But I am still a person.
With feelings.
With feelings. I am so sensitive. I love the Disney movie Coco. And stuff like that you don't see. You can see this is a lawyer and she's so strong, she's so intelligent, and nothing ever gets to her. But we're people, we cry. And while making us super strong is great to see, it takes away a very human element of the black woman.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely feel like some people think that we don't hurt. My mom has a phrase said, yeah, I'm a mom, but I'm a person too. And my identity doesn't change just because I have a certain role, if that makes sense. So just to piggyback off of that, like they think that a lot of people just think, well, you can take anything that can be thrown at us. And I am really sensitive, despite the very confident person I am very sensitive. So you can't just say anything to me. Like I may not let you know that I'm crying. I'll probably let you have it first, but then I'm gonna go home and be really upset that you said that to me because I still have feelings. I'm still a person too. And then I think I don't like the narrative that when we are being forceful, not so much forceful, when we are standing in our truth and standing up for ourselves, we're aggressive, we're the sassy black woman, and we're just this other image that's annoying because if it was a man, they're aggressive, they are assertive, they stand up for themselves, they're so powerful, they're so confident. When a black woman does it, we're aggressive, we're wrong, we're extra, and now you're considering giving the position to somebody else because I wasn't qualified. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So I think those stereotypes kind of just bother me a lot. And I think just the idea that we as African Americans, especially black women, have to work 4 times, I say 2 times, 4 times as harder than our counterparts just to get the same thing, the same pay, the same position, literally just to be equal. We're working 4 times as hard when our other counterparts are just being regular, being themselves, and they're up here. There's no balance, which is annoying.
And I want to speak on the word sassy. I heard that so much growing up.
So much. So sassy.
You're so sassy. I would like educators to stop using the word sassy when describing young black girls, because it's a lot of the time it's not sass. It's just saying what they're thinking. It might be setting a boundary. It's like, oh, you're sassy. If I say don't touch my hair, oh, the sass, look at you. It's not sass. It's me saying what I'm thinking. And sass is not a compliment. It's not something to be revered for. It's disrespect. Don't call me sassy.
Right.
I don't like that word.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we will be moving to questions from the audience, so I hope you all have some things brewing in your mind that you want to ask these two ladies, and we'll also be getting some questions from those that are live streaming. So again, just get those in your head, and we will come back to those in just a few minutes. But again, the main question here today is, where do we go from here dealing with racism? We're going through a lot right now. We got 2 pandemics that we're dealing with. That's really all that's in the news every day when you turn on your TV. So if each of you can just kind of wrap up in your best way, where we go from here, what are your steps? What are your suggestions to those in the audience, to your friends at school, and to your community? What are the next steps moving forward?
I would say the next step for us, we gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep pushing. Injustice and problems are no issue to Black people. They're no issue to the African-American race. We have been faced with adversity since 1619. This is nothing new. It's just been reformed and rebirthed into something else. And while it is hard, we have no choice but to be resilient. We have no choice but to lean on the power of God or whatever higher power you have for yourself. We have to remain educated, steadfast, and we just gotta make it happen for ourselves. If you can't fight, write a petition, donate money. There are so many other ways to be an ally in this pandemic and this issue. And it's just a matter of us fighting, us pushing forward. It's hard, but you have to realize that one day enough's gonna be enough. I think hopefully this will be the generation to end it all for once. It started with our grandparents, started with our parents. Now it's up to us to end the cycle. It has to end.
Amen. My next steps are within my community, at school, but next steps for other people, educate yourselves. Take the time to go online, Google is free, and just find resources to educate yourself and other people, especially if you're someone who teaches Black children, if you're not even just Black children, if you teach, if you're a counselor, if you interact with other people, take time to educate yourself, figure out what your biases are, figure out how that affects you and other people so you can be aware of it, and then keep fighting, because nothing will happen if you believe this is just a trend. It's not a trend.
It's not a trend, it's our lives.
Yeah, Blackout Tuesday was not enough. Keep moving forward, keep fighting. Those are my next steps.
And joining organizations that align with views as your own.
Yes.
Like I'm part of the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs Incorporated. As you can tell, that just sounds like something Black, right? So definitely joining organizations that align with your values and that believe what you believe and that will fight your fight, because we're all one. That's important as well too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I'm just going to add a little tidbit, my personal opinion. I have been speaking with my white friends about their personal experiences, because while we can read books, we can Google things, we also have to hear personal experiences, and we can't be afraid to be uncomfortable. I have white friends that are afraid to come to me and ask questions about what's happening because they think that they're gonna offend me. But if I'm not open to hearing the questions that they have to help make them a better person, we're never gonna get anywhere. So I'm talking to my Black sisters and my Black brothers. We have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable with having those conversations with our white peers. Exactly. So again, we can fight the power all day, but we have to fight the power with everybody, equality. Right. So that's just my opinion. But it is CMC's tradition to take audience questions. Jane Scott, CMC's president, is curating questions from the live stream audience. If you are here in the audience, you can line up over there and get your questions ready. And I'll give it over to you, Jane.
Wonderful, thank you. Good job, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have several questions, some of which you've already addressed, so I may tweak them just a little bit, so I apologize to the folks who asked them. Cheryl Catledge from Copycat, you've already expressed, are you familiar with the New York Times 1619 Project? And maybe you could share with the audience what that is, just in case somebody isn't familiar with it. And then the rest of her question is, do you see application in your, do you see this as application in your anti-racism efforts? So what is it, and how does it apply to right now?
I'm trying to think. Oh, because we learned about the 1619 Project in my freshman year of college. I really wish I want to pay attention to class now. From what I remember, the 1619 Project was basically, what was I trying to figure out? I forgot, I'm not even gonna speak on that. But it definitely aligns, I can talk about the anti-racism efforts, because definitely in college, you know, you're kind of, I wouldn't say you're coddled, but at HBCU, you are mainly supported by your peers with everything. And I remember we had to read different documents on how our white counterparts felt about African Americans back in those days. So how we were seen as barbaric, and how they did use different tactics to try to control us. So I would say reading those documents have helped me realize the psychology that goes behind slavery and the psychology that goes behind racism, and it's made me aware of kind of what not to do, what not to say, and what tricks not to kind of fall for when it comes to dealing with racism and dealing with systematic oppression as a whole.
I'm not familiar with the 1619 project, so
the class now, because
I won't comment on it.
Hello, my name is Renee Delane, and my business is Women Who Dare, and you all do. You've answered a lot of questions already. My question was going to be how can white women do more to support our sisters, to elevate your messages, and to support you? But I think you've answered that. If you want to add more to it, you can. But what do you wish as a child, just starting off school, you would have gotten from your teacher or teachers that made you feel like, I see you?
Ooh.
Representation. My parents did a great job in providing me with books where I saw myself growing up, especially because I still go to a PWI, and those weren't very available when I was growing up. So books that show children of color, those warm my heart to see today. We had swimming unit, some assistance to the little black girl whose hair is puffed up because she went in the water. And just for women in general, believing each other, that's a big thing. It's a thing in the medical community, but in life in general as well, that people don't believe black women when they say something because we're over dramatic or we're over exaggerating. And I think one of the biggest things that supports me with my white friends in general is when they believe what I'm telling them.
Yeah. I'm going to answer this in two parts. I think, first, white people should understand their power. I think that white people really don't have these types of issues with racism. You can probably walk down the street and you don't think twice about anybody stopping you. You don't have to worry about if you don't smile, will you look aggressive? So I think and also, I don't know if there's a video I saw on Twitter where when they were protesting, the white people stood in front of them and blocked them. Like this, the police went and gets them, and the police did nothing. The police didn't throw rubber bullets at them. They didn't throw any smoke bombs. Nothing happened. So I think if we had more white people that stood up and said this is wrong, or just being like a block for that, we wouldn't have these issues whatsoever, because they're not gonna hurt their own. So knowing that white people have a lot of power, and if you say this is wrong, your other counterparts will follow as well, and will say, maybe this is wrong, maybe we should not do that, maybe this is slightly racist, maybe that is a little prejudice. So definitely having white people to just understand that their power, it would be amazing, and that they can be a part of the change too, because we're all still a human race, we're all still one. Just because I'm black, I may have a different experience, but you can still help. So I would say that would be one thing that white people could do just to help what's going on, and then having stuff like this, having open, candid conversations and listening to our stories and not trying to discredit it by maybe saying, well, that's not my experience, or maybe if you did this, no, it ain't maybe if I did this, maybe if you would listen and understand. And if you see historically that this is a pattern, there's no need to justify what's going on, because you're justifying racism, you're justifying what's going on, and that's not, we don't need justification, we need action, we need protection. Second part, for what would children need, I would definitely say it starts at home. Like my parents, they only bought me black Barbie dolls. I watched black movies. I had black books about black doctors and lawyers and everything. So everything in my house was pretty black. So I was very confident in myself from a young age. I also grew up in a very educated household. My dad has a doctorate degree. My mom has a master's in MBA. So I come from a very educated household. So education is on the forefront. It's on the top. And luckily, I had a nice amount of black teachers who saw a lot of potential in me, who praised me, and who definitely poured into me. But a lot of students don't get that, especially if you're not the token Black student. I spoke like this, and I was so smart, so I got paid attention to. I got opportunities, but the Black girl that can't really read too good, they ain't that good. That's not that good at math. The Black boy who acts out in class, who's a class clown, they don't get that same attention, and we write them off as bad children. Well, maybe something's going on in their home life. Maybe this is the only way they get attention. Maybe their mom doesn't pay attention to them at all. Their parents are probably on drugs. And we only give certain Black children rewards and everything, and we just leave the rest to move on because they're not important. And I think we need to work on pulling everybody up. Because there's probably, if we just have more people that care about our children as a whole and don't write them off at the third, because they write people off at third grade. If you're not good by third grade, you're done. So I definitely think if we have those things put in place, we could have a lot more to be done. So that's what I believe white people could do, and that's what I believe a third grade child could use as well to help themselves.
Thank you, and I hope one of you young women may choose to run as a political candidate at some time. We need to hear your voice.
So I said that some of these things have been covered. So Caleb Jarman, please forgive me for twisting your question a little bit, but he's from the Tennessee State University.
Yeah, that's my friend.
You've already described some of your experiences of being a Black woman at a historically Black college and university or a PWI. I guess the corollary to that question is, how do you think those experiences are going to translate when you get out into the workforce where it's not just an African-American environment, it's not just a Black environment?
Right.
I'd be curious to know how you feel that that's going to help you or maybe hinder you as you go into a workplace that's not just Black.
I've actually thought about this a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, I am slightly nervous because a piece of me thinks that I may not rise to the occasion because I'm not surrounded by all Black people. I may decrease myself and my light won't shine as bright because I feel like I'm doing too much, I'm trying to overpower somebody. But what I've come to realize is that I went to an historical Black college or university, yes, to be around like-minded peers like myself, but I wanna grow, I wanna be confident, I want to be a boss, I wanna run things. So I believe that even though I won't be in an environment that looks just like me, sometimes being the only one isn't a bad thing, because it doesn't matter if you're the only one, it matters if you're the best one. And my HBCU has prepared me to be the best person in whatever field, whatever occupation, whatever desire I want to do. So I think I will still have that confidence, even though I may be a little nervous. I'm gonna have that confidence to be the best one in my field, to show up and show out, and to show what my HBCU has prepared me to do for the world.
I can't say, can I back up? Since I am an HBCU graduate and I've been in the workforce, it is gonna be intimidating, but you will rise to the occasion. I have been the only Black person in an entire newsroom or a building of more than 50 people, and I've had to hold my own. I thought people were gonna have my back, and I was the only one that had my back. So you will rise to the occasion, and that HBCU is preparing you exactly for what I dealt with and what you will deal with in being the only one in that room, and you're gonna shine and you're gonna be the best, like you said. So there's no worries with that.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for being leaders up on this stage today. My name is Marty Ridley. I work with an organization called Ruling Our Experiences, and we focus on large-scale research and programming for girls across the nation. We were able to deploy a survey that happened in May at the beginning of COVID, and some of the results that have come back have said that 80% of girls are feeling more isolated than they were before COVID. We talked about using social media to kind of stay connected and educate your peers. Our study also has found that 1/3 of girls are reporting using social media 6 or more hours a day. I'm also a mom to a 12-year-old girl who's not here right now but is watching at home. So when you think about your younger selves and the next generation of young leaders that look just like you, what are some pieces of advice that you have for them to stay motivated and engaged and to do some self-care, because this work is really hard?
So for self-care, I like to knit. I like to do crafts, but if there's something I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger, and I never vocalized this thought, but it was something that was always prevalent in my head, especially not really seeing the older black girls at my school or in general was there's no supposed to X. I don't have to look at anyone and say, you're supposed to look like this now, why don't you look like this? So if any young black girls are on Instagram and seeing just gorgeous models saying, why don't I look like that? Don't worry about it. You look the way you're supposed to look at your point in time. And find things that make you happy and that are safe, healthy, and make you happy. It doesn't matter if it's nerdy, it doesn't matter if it's embarrassing. You're not supposed to like one thing because you're black. You're not supposed to do one thing because you're a girl. If it brings you joy, go for it. Don't be embarrassed. Like some people say black people can't like, I don't know, anime. Sure. It doesn't matter. They need to know. But yeah, do what you like and embrace it wholeheartedly for self-care.
I would say for me, I went to the all-girls school when I was younger, when I was in middle school, and I remember we had to say the pledge every single day, and one part I remember is being a tenacious, outstanding, and purposeful leader. So I learned that, I said that every single day for 3 years, never really knew what it meant until I had an epiphany one random day, and to be purposeful in everything that you do. And just being, I would say at the all-girls school, like I was allowed to be myself. I was allowed to be the smart black girl because we're all smart black girls. We're all very much alike. I loved to read when I was a kid. I was around people who loved to read. There's girls who loved to build robots. We had a STEM club. So being around like-minded individuals, I would definitely highly recommend that because that's gonna show you who you are, because I can tell you your future by your 5 closest friends. If your 5 closest friends is doing well and they're doing just amazing for themselves, you will more than likely follow suit because that's who you're around. So definitely, like she said, find something you like to do. I love to watch TV. I can watch TV all day. It's amazing. I love it. So I watch TV all day and I do reviews on television because that's what brings me happiness. I don't really read as much, but I would like to read. Reading a book is fun to you. Read a book. There are just so many things that you can do to kind of just be in tune with yourself. I definitely think that's great. And then just putting yourself first. I think the younger me wish I would just put myself first and would just did whatever I want to do because I was so scared what everybody had to say about me and this isn't popular and most black girls aren't smart and I'm the only one. No, that's not the case. Just be yourself. Be you and do you and don't let anybody else stop you.
Thank you guys for being here today. My name is Chris Sewell. I am the program manager for My Brother's Keeper, City of Columbus Apartment Neighborhoods. Earlier you talked about black women going hard for Ahmaud Arbery, Rashad Brooks, and not feeling the same type of love for black women. My question is to you is we understand that black men are strong because we have the love and support from black women. So going forward, how can we, as black men and young black men, support black women so that they, one, feel loved, and two, understand that we have their back during this time of pandemic and going forward?
I believe the first thing as a whole that black men could do to support black women is to support all black women and not just the black women you like. So don't support your mama because she's your mama or your sisters or your best friend. Support all black women, period, as a whole. Be an advocate for all black women, not just the ones that you find attractive. Don't just support Beyonce and Halle Berry and Viola Davis. Support everybody. We want a level playing field because black women, we don't care how you look. We just know you're a black man, you need support, and that's it, and we got you. But black men do not have that same feeling for black women, unfortunately. It is very conditional for black men to support black women. So I believe that black men need to support all black women and not just the ones that they like.
I would like to see black men using their platforms. A lot of black men, a lot of famous athletes are black men. Publicly support us. Mm-hmm. Don't just post once black women are pretty cool, say her name. Be public about it. A lot of popular people, if you're playing sports and you're getting all these people who love you because of your sports, throw some activism in there. You got a big crowd. If you have a platform, support us. If you don't, if you're hanging around only black dudes, cool. Support us through there. So, yeah, just vocalize the appreciation.
Awesome. This is our last question. Thank you.
Ladies, it's been an honor to have you here. I'm Lainey Cuthbert from the Columbus Metropolitan Club. And my last question for you is, people are being motivated, they're passionate, especially folks in your generation, and I am so proud to see you're doing that.
Thank
I
you.
have folks in your generation too. And you have some white allies out there, and that's excellent to see. Guys, how do you turn these people out to vote?
First of all, before I even start that, please vote. If you are 18 and above, there's no reason you shouldn't vote on your 18th birthday. You need to go to wherever you gotta go to get registered to vote. You need to go register to vote. My mom got me registered to vote the day I turned 18. Here's your gift. Here's a voter registration form. Fill this out for me, please. So we definitely need to just push voting across the board, period, for everybody. Everybody should vote. Black, white, Asian, I don't care. You need to vote as a whole. And then before you get to vote, know your party. Are you going to be a Democrat, Republican, Independent? Learn about the party, learn the history of the party, learn what politicians are a part of that party, and do their values align with yours. And I don't know, because young people I think young people have this belief that because of the person that got elected in office that their vote doesn't matter, and that is not the case. Because people just thought, well, he's gonna lose anyway, so I'm not gonna vote, it's bad either way, we got the worst option, and now people are upset. So I think our generation hopefully is understanding that if we vote, stuff can change. You can't just do stuff in America without a vote. It's literally the reason why we are America, because we need to vote. So I think one way we can get our youth out there to vote is just, first of all, advocating in the household to let them know you need to vote. Preach voting to them at a young age, so that when they're 18, there's no choice in their mind that they should vote. Because you've been taught that. The schools need to do a good job as well in educating them about politics, about history, about the government, so that way when there comes time to vote, they have some education from the school if they're not getting it at home. There should be no reason why nobody is not educated on voting. And then colleges do a really good job of, hey, are you registered to vote? We go around, we pass out flyers. We're doing all this type of stuff to get people to vote. And our organizations need to also be accountable for working with people, working with the cities to get people to vote. So please vote if you are 18 and above. Get registered to vote and vote, because it's important.
I can't vote. I won't be able to vote in the next election. But what I do think would be super helpful, provide transportation, provide people with ways to get to polls. If you have neighborhood kids who you know, or I guess new adults, who will be able to vote, get them down there, help them figure out how to vote. We have history classes. We should be using those to take maybe one class to go through policies and explaining how our current day systems work. But make it available. I went to a protest and they had voter registration on the side of the road. So if you were walking down the street, you could register to vote. So make it available, make it known that it's available, and provide people with the means to actually get to a polling place.
Awesome. One word, wow. Wow. I hope that you all enjoyed today's forum and found it to be quite insightful. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for sharing your truth today. Our future is so much brighter simply because you live. So thank you so much for sharing that. We hope that you tune in next Wednesday at noon online or in person here at the Boathouse as we continue our series, Racism, Where Do We Go From Here? Next week, we will explore the bias hidden within you. This will be really interesting, so please don't miss it. Thanks to our live stream partners, WOSU Public Media, PNC, the Columbus Dispatch, and WBNS. To our online and virtual seat patrons, again, thank you so much. And special thanks to our speakers, Olivia Pierre-Louise. Thank you. Fantastic job. Janae Tallison and Brooke Rayford. We hope to see you again soon, and until then, please stay well and be safe. Have a good afternoon.